Good morning, everyone. Jason here. Today is December 23rd, and I am making an aftermarket update video for Friday, December 22nd. All right, so it was a really good ES trade, and I'll explain that here in just a minute. You're looking at an ES chart here, but it was extremely volatile early in the session in both the CL and the ES, which are the two markets that we look at. There was some extreme volatility. We ratcheted down our contracts into one lots because of this increased volatility and the way that the market was rotating around. Again, it was an extreme, couple of extreme moves, and you can see that highlighted here. We had a statement by one of the Fed members about interest rates, and immediately we came down into our structure signal. We like to draw a box around that structure signal level, again, remembering that support and resistance is not about to the tick precision, but more about zones of influence. And as the market came down into that box, that zone of influence, the market rallied here. This is a 5-minute bar. You had a 22, almost 23-point bar, followed immediately by another 15-point 5-minute bar. So again, the volatility was incredibly aggressive as we moved up through it here. But our idea on the day was that we were looking for moves to the downside. So we look at these higher time frame charts, and we're going to zero in here on this daily chart. And as you can see here, going back into the first week of December, obviously the market has just been on a free fall, right? A little bit of chop, but then we head into that first week of December, and you can see that the market has just been aggressively to the downside. And of course, you have your 1-hour chart and these moving averages. This is the 100 and 200, and you can see pretty clean moves to the downside with the exception of this breakthrough and this breakthrough. But again, pretty much very clean type moves to the downside. So as we were coming into the trading session on Friday, our idea was that we were going to be looking short. And so we got chopped around just a little bit in this area. And when I show you the trade of the day video, you're going to see that I'm down ticks heading into this trade for that very reason, right? This was an unexpected 38-point move on two 5-minute bars, but there was some clues as to what may be happening next once we could not make it up to our structure extension 1 level up above. And so what we began to look for once we couldn't get here is looking to see if we could come down and short underneath this structure target area. And that's exactly what we began to look for, and that's ultimately what we did. Bar cannot make a new high on this 5-minute chart. We come down into our structure target. We could not get up to the extension 1, and then we begin the process of looking short. We ultimately take the short right here off of this daily structure target, right up here, right around quarter, 0.00 quarter, and we began to look for this push to the downside. Now, for us, again, the structure, and we went through some profile stuff and in the actual trade room this morning, or that morning on Friday morning, but I just showed you kind of the higher time frame charts and what we were looking for. And again, you also have to put all of this in context of the fact that there was and ultimately was a shutdown, a government shutdown. So again, that removes confidence, and that just continues this bearish kind of idea. So we couldn't make it to the level above. The structure on the day was short. We had a news-driven event, kind of like a sugar high, that it wore off. We could not make a new high. We came down underneath this structure target. And for us, we were originally looking here at this structure signal for about 10 points on this move. We entered the trade here around 1 lot, and we came all the way down into this structure target, right into this structure target. We get trail stopped right up here for what ultimately ends up being 32 points, not ticks, but points on the ES. Now, if we could have figured out how to withstand that one rally back up here into the structure mid, which your levels gave you excellent opportunity here, right, to maybe get a re-entry here at the structure mid, and then the market continues to sell off into the day. So what ended up being, and I'm going to show you here, we'll turn on the overnight levels here for a minute. You can see we kind of rotated around that structure signal, the overnight level as well, right? So what you end up seeing here when you turn these levels on, you end up seeing really clean structure points around these areas. And this is one of the things that allow us to hold on to these bigger trading opportunities, are these structure points on our charts. So what we ended up doing is getting short up here at 25 and 00 quarter, and then 65 points later, it makes the low down there at 35 quarters. So we had an excellent entry point. We were able to ride it for 16 ES points on one lot. That was able to end up taking any of the losses that we had on the day, erase those. It ends up being an 8-to-1 reward to risk trade. I had a 4-point stop. We had a 32-point trade, and it ended up being a fantastic trade. So I'm going to do what I always do. It was a pretty long trade, actually. If you look here, 9:25 down to 10:10. It was almost an hour in length. So what I did with the trade is I showed you where we get into the trade. Then I showed you where our stop placement was, and then we take the trade, cut it down into pieces, put some music behind it, and then you're able to see where we ultimately exited. And what I want you to pay attention to is the top of the price ladders. That is where the P&L is located, and you'll see originally, I'll point it out to you at the first part of the video, exactly that where we were down ticks on the day prior to heading into this ultimate trade. And again, if you just take a look here, this is our trading view stats for the day. Ended up $1,100 on one ES lot. You can see here that our largest trade was 16.1250. That is 32 points on one lot on the ES. And our winning trade was, what is it, 551 versus 177. So 3-to-1, 4-to-1 almost reward to risk ratio there. And our average hold time on the winning trade was 31 minutes, and we got out in about 4 minutes on our losing trades. So again, I'm going to let you watch this OTG trade of the day, and I want you to pay particular attention to the top of the price ladders throughout there, and you can kind of see how the P&L is fluctuating and those kinds of things. So without further ado, here is that OTG trade of the day. I'm in at quarter short on the ES. 04 quarter is the stop. You'd be looking to target back to the structure signal down around 90 half, 90 quarter.